I am back today with another story time, but first I have a little poem for you that I wrote, so just listen closely if you can. But I wrote it down, I don't remember it by heart, so I'm just going to read from my book because right here. Can't say we've all been there, but most of us have. Finding that family didn't really care, and those relationships didn't really last. Waking up every morning if the night was not sleepless. Hoping to see sunshine, but the window only offered darkness. I know and I understand that it hurts worse and even more when blades and pills become your own friend. You see, life is a game that we all play. You either win or you lose. We all want to see that day where we win and we can celebrate, taking shots of booze. Of course, that day has yet to come, but it's okay because the night is still young. I know it's a cold world, but heaven is even colder when it's not your time to be there. So, after sharing that poem that I wrote, I call that a piece of advice because today I'm going to share with you one of my suicide stories. It's one of many because I have several of them, so it's going to be a more serious video. If you're one of those people who are not interested in suicidal stories, or you think that that's if you think that that's a game, I recommend not watching this video. But I'm gonna go ahead and tell my story because maybe it can help some people. Yesterday, I had both my brother and one of my really close friends try to commit suicide. I'm not sure in which way that both of them are gonna do it. My brother actually ended up in the hospital. My friend, I was able to talk her out of it. So thank God and shout out to you. I'm not gonna say her name because I don't know if you want everybody to know that. But I'm gonna go ahead and get into one of my stories now. So this story is a little bit older than the rest, but it's kind of recent. It did happen within the last 2 years. It was back in 2014, probably the beginning of 2014. At the time, I was living with my aunt, but I did run away. The reason for running away is because I got my grades in the mail. The grades that you get from the whole course of time that you've been in the school. So I got my grades in the mail, and one grade had an F on it. I don't get Fs now, don't get me wrong. I actually graduated with all A's, but the grade had an F on it from freshman year in high school, so it was like an overall performance thing. My mother, who thinks she always knows what she's talking about, seen the F and assumed that it was from my senior year, which it wasn't. It was from freshman year. So after seeing the F, she decided that I don't know what her issue was that day, or any day, but she was really angry about seeing the F. And I honestly know that it was more than just seeing the F. She saw the F and she starts going crazy about the freaking F like any other parent would do. But her crazy was on a whole nother level. These were her exact words. You think it's a game to fail in school. And I'm trying to tell her that the F was in algebra. I struggle in math, still struggle in math, but I managed to pass it with an A when I graduated. But I struggled with math the whole 4 years of high school. Tried to tell her that, and I just don't understand it. It wasn't that I was joking around in class or anything, which I did sometimes, but not in just that class, in every class. And I managed to have a good grade in every class besides math because I wasn't understanding it. So tried to tell her that. Of course, she cut me off. She's one of those people who they don't care what you have to say. They're just going to say what they have to say, and that'll be it. So she cut me off, and she went on this rampage about how I'm going to end up like my friends on the side of the street sucking dick and a whole bunch of other crap that my friends don't even do. But she wouldn't know that because, come on. So after she told me that, more words slipped out. More words that I'm not even going to say on this camera. But the word that got me to pretty much get my stuff and leave was the word bitch. She called me a bitch. I tried to tell her, oh, that F is from freshman year, not from senior year. These are my grades from senior year. And I tried to point it out to her. She's like, bitch, don't lie to me. But she said it louder, meaner, and crazier. So, and she meant it in the worst way. I don't know what her attitude was that way, but I know she meant it in the worst way. And this isn't the first time my mom has acted this way towards me, but it was the first time she called me the B word to my face, which I didn't like. And I don't like that word. And nobody's going to call me that. Mom, dad, grandma, sister, cousin, brother. Nobody's going to call me that. So instead of me lashing back on her, what I did was I waited until she was done yelling. I stood and I stared at her just like this. And I waited until she was done yelling at the stupid report card that was from a long time ago. When she was done, she told me, when I get back here, this entire house better be clean. And I just nodded my head and went along with it, and she left. After she left, I left too. She thought that I was going to be there when she got back, but I wasn't. And I did not return for about 6 to 7 months. So, besides that, this is not the runaway story, this is the suicide story. Okay, so besides that, after running away, I was over at my aunt's house for quite some time. I didn't go straight there. I actually left. I had a friend that lived only a block or two away from my house, so I was at her house for a while. Then I went over to another friend's house for a while. Probably like 4 months after running away, I went to my aunt's house. Being at my aunt's house, I had a lot of things bottled up, but I was happy to be there because my cousins always make me feel better. They're super funny and they will make you forget any troubles you're having in the world. So being at my aunt's house really did make me happy. So I was there, and it was my aunt's birthday, and everybody was getting drunk. I know I'm too young to drink and stuff, but I was drinking a lot, and I was also mixing liquors. So I did get drunk, and then later that night when we went back over to my other aunt's house, 2 people came back with me, and that was my cousin LaDeja and my cousin LaShayla. So back when we got back to my aunt's house, it was probably nighttime. The whole time in my head, I had a lot of stuff going on, just thinking about all the emotional abuse I was getting, not only from my mom, but from my sisters. I had a bunch of stuff going on. Let's just say that. It was all running through my head while the alcohol was running through my system, but nobody knew because on the outside I was like this. Just happy and hiding it like a normal person would do when they're feeling suicidal. So when we got back to my aunt's, probably an hour or so later after settling in and stuff, my voice in my head was telling me, this is enough. I've had enough. I'm done here. I had enough. Why am I still here? Why am I still on this planet? Like, what am I doing here? I have no worth, no reason. So I go into the bathroom, and in the bathroom I take a blade with me that my cousin Michael gave me to protect myself. When he found out that I ran away and I was on my own pretty much, he gave me a blade and he gave me pepper spray. I took the blade that I had and I went into the bathroom and started cutting. I didn't second guess it. I just started cutting. My mind has this issue with blood, seeing blood. So seeing the blood was already making me sick and dizzy, and plus the alcohol in my system was making me bleed a lot. So I cut my arm completely up. I guess I wasn't cutting deep enough, or it just wasn't my time to go, but I cut my arm completely up, and then I went to my chest, cut my chest up, and I was just in there going crazy with the blade. I sat in the bathroom for like 30 minutes, just cutting, constantly cutting, and crying and crying and cutting and crying and just wondering, why is this not working? Why am I still here? My mind was completely, it was gone. Like, I didn't, and I was in there by myself, and at the same time I wonder why isn't anybody looking for me, but I am also drunk, so who knows. But after that happened, I like completely blacked out. After seeing all the blood and everything, I blacked out, and then I don't know how long I was passed out or what, but I woke up in the bathroom and the blood was kind of still running, so either it was fresh or the alcohol was just making me lose a lot. After the blood and everything, I woke up in the bathroom and I walked out of the bathroom, still blood on my wrist. My vision was blurry, everything was fuzzy, it was dark in the house. I don't know where everybody was. I'm assuming they probably were like on the back porch smoking or something, or maybe in the room hotboxing or whatever they were doing. My cousins smoke a lot, but I went from the bathroom straight to the couch. The bathroom was here, and then the couch was probably like right here, so I just walked across, laid on the couch, and passed out again. The next time I woke up, though, I woke up with screaming and yelling, and the screaming and yelling was coming from LaShayla and LaDeja. LaDeja, seeing like she started crying, LaShayla was freaking out with her. They had alcohol and napkins, towels, and they were like wiping all the blood away, and they were also yelling at me. And I'm like blacked out, sleep, like waking up, I forgot that I even cut myself. So I'm like, what's the deal? Like, what's wrong with you guys? So after they wipe all the blood away and everything off of me, they're like giving me lifelong speeches and lessons, like, no, you shouldn't do that, and we're telling Shy when she gets here, and Shy's my other cousin. She probably would have twisted my neck if she would have seen that, but she wasn't there. After they cleaned me up and everything, I still was feeling suicidal even after the hangover. So when they all went to sleep, I left the house, and I was out until like 4 in the morning, just walking around, crying and listening to music. So the pep talks that they gave me did not work at all. They didn't work at all. I still felt suicidal, still cried that night, but I woke up the next day and I kept going with my life. I'm not going to say that I didn't try to do it again, because I definitely did. This was only the beginning. And I will tell those stories later on. So that's the end of this first suicide story, pretty much. I didn't go to the hospital or anything this time because my aunt actually never found out about the cuts until like 3 or 4 days later. So I didn't get to the hospital. My cousins were probably too scared to even think about calling the ambulance. So I didn't go to the hospital that time, but the time I'm going to tell you next, I did go to the hospital. So I will tell you guys that story next. So that was the end of this suicide story video. This one happened back on Cleveland Avenue, 257 in Gresham. I really want to say thank you to LaShayla and LaDeja for being there that night with me and helping me, because I did have 6 other cousins in that house and my niece, and only 2 of them were there to help me and bring me out of that for the night, and they did try to pep talk me. And even though it didn't work and I still left that night still thinking that I have no worth, I shouldn't be here, or why am I here, or just feeling that way because I had so much going on at the time, they still tried. And I really want to thank them for that, because a lot of times nothing is said and then a life is lost and nobody ever knows why. So thank you so much for being there for me that night. And I will be back with another suicide story. I probably will do it tonight if I have enough time after editing this video. If I don't do it tonight, it'll be up tomorrow night. I'm trying to get them in as quick as possible before I start filling these orders. But thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I just want to say to anybody out there who is thinking about committing suicide, don't do it, please. And I'll just listen to that poem that I wrote earlier. Just don't do it. It's best if you keep smiling, prove to those who want you gone or who believe that should be gone, If you just prove to them that you can be happy without them in your life, or if you can prove to them that you're better than what they think you are, it's going to kill them much more than it is when you're gone. A smile really hurts people. So if someone's crushing you, just give them one of these. It's gonna hurt them, trust me. Bye, guys.